On this episode of How to Actually Change the World, we talk to Mayor of Virginia Beach and Regent alum Bobby Dyer. Bobby D, as he's asked us to call him, got his PhD in organizational leadership in 2001 and was named the number 3 best mayor in the country. Enjoy the show.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to the show, How to Actually Change the World. My name is Darvin Wentes.
And I'm Ray Pearson-Ben.
And we are your hosts for this podcast. We are so excited. This is awesome. We get the chance to talk with pretty incredible people and share their stories with you guys and just share what's going on with the people that have come to Regent, who have been a part of our story at large. And it's been exciting.
Darvin, I'm very much a fan of this person because I am a Virginia Beach girl. And so I'll let you introduce him, but I am a fan.
Please, you introduce him.
Well, I'm excited
a fan as well, but
to
please.
welcome the mayor of the city of Virginia Beach, who happens to be a graduate of Regent University, Mayor Bobby Dyer.
It is such an honor to be back home.
Yes. That's where the applause would be if we had it. So
oh my gosh. Yes, well, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's my honor and privilege, believe me.
Thank you. Yeah, we really appreciate it, and we're so excited to have you here to talk with our audience, which will likely be a lot of people from Hampton Roads, which is awesome because you're the mayor of Virginia Beach. So, starting off, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Something that maybe people don't know. You are the mayor, so I think people probably know a lot, but
he's so shy.
You still have so much more than
No, I don't think so. But let me put it this way. I kind of have a joke about myself, actually quite a few, but I go by Bobby D. I only tell people I'm mayor on Tuesdays and Bobby D the rest of the week. Because, when you're out in the village, you're at a Wawa, you're at a Sam's Club. You don't want people saying, there's the mayor, I can't talk to him.
Yeah.
But if they say, there's Bobby D., I tell you what, you got to be the mayor for 460,000 people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you've done a great job at being the mayor, and it's no surprise to me and certainly to you and the folks who are listening that you're a believer because you are anointed and you are walking out what's been ordained by God. And so I know that you are a Jersey boy. I know this. And so I wanted to know what brought you here from Jersey.
Well, I jokingly tell people I was here originally on a witness relocation program, but don't tell anybody.
I
won't tell anybody either. Don't you tell anybody out there.
No, that is the secret that must be kept. No, but actually, I was blessed. I've been in healthcare was in healthcare for 4.5 decades, and I was vice president of a hospital in New Jersey at Meadowlands Hospital. It was a cool gig. I was very close to Giant Stadium, so, don't want to offend all the other teams. But there was a corporate merger, downsizing, and I got downsized out of a job, came to visit a friend. There was a house for sale on Lake Christopher in Virginia Beach that could not touch in New Jersey for the price. So I said, okay, let's go ahead and make the change.
Wow.
Isn't it impressive how God orders your steps to a place? I think it's really something when you talk to people about what brought them where they are.
Yeah.
And had you had any idea at that time that you were going to be the mayor?
No, and I think, there's a funny time. It's disappointing at first when you lose a job for any reason, even with a downsizing. And it's a kick in the ego. But, the other thing is you come to realize when you look back, and you say, if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have met the love of my life, who is a Regent connection. She was in the business office, and I was the admin dean. And while we were dating, she would still dog me for my visa statements. And, she's the love of my life and, the rock of my foundation.
Look at
God,
that.
That's awesome. Yeah, now tell us about her. That's awesome. What is that life like? What is you don't have to go into too much detail.
No,
but
please don't go
just tell us.
No, but I'll
us a
tell you
little about
what. You know, it's the type of thing, you know, when Jesus sends you a gift, you embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
And another one of the jokes about myself was everything in my life I attained was after I turned 50 years old. I got married for the first time. I got my doctorate from Regent.
Wow.
And then I also got elected to city council. You know what that means? I didn't do squat my first half century. But, you know, all the things, you know, without Regent, I wouldn't have got my doctorate, but I would never met my wife. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I am so blessed. It's unbelievable.
Well, I think that's really encouraging to folks that are listening as well, because that lets you know that God can use you all throughout your life. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to be a Gen Zer.
Yep.
You know, you don't have to be right out the box, fresh and new. He makes you new. Mm-hmm. And it's a beautiful thing to hear that you said at 50 you had a whole nother direction that you were going.
Yeah, and that was here in Virginia Beach. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a great transition to this. Like, you were brought to Regent, and that brought you to your wife. What was the thing that said, I'm going to go to Regent? I want to go and pursue more education there.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. Back in the mid-'90s, I took a teaching gig with Old Dominion teaching in the physical therapy program. Okay. And to continue, you know, and I really like teaching. I really like touching youth and, you know, getting involved in people's lives and careers. But you had to have this thing called a PhD. And at the time, Regent was starting a brand new leadership program. And just so I didn't know if you know, I was in the charter class. You know,
I
the
didn't
first
know that.
class.
Wow.
Okay.
You know, of then Center for Leadership Studies, which became the School of Leadership Studies.
That's awesome.
So, you know, I started here, met Trish even back when I was a student. But, you know, that's basically, you know, I wound up here, quite frankly, out of convenience, because I only live 2 miles from here.
Okay.
But then once I was here, I found I gained the foundation and the spirit and the faith that I need that eventually would sustain me during some challenging times.
Yeah.
Well,
praise God.
so you've already told me that you met your wife, and she was a staff member here, right?
Yep.
So we know how inspirational she was and how she grabbed hold of your heart and never let it go. But who was the professor or staff member academically that inspired you?
Bruce Winston.
Oh, tell me about Bruce.
I'll tell you what, he was a tough taskmaster with a heart of gold. Mm-hmm. And he inspired me because, I got another joke about myself that'll set the table
comedian.
for this one. My nickname is Bobby D. I'm a PT, physical therapist with a PhD with ADHD. And all of a sudden, now they got I need this doctorate thing. And when I came here, I was scared to death. The technology was just starting with, the Blackboard type distance ed. We were on a hybrid thing, and I was scared to death about the technology of the education, about my ability to learn, having a very short attention span. When it comes to reading, I have what I call a Reader's Digest attention span.
I'm right there with you.
Short stories are great. Technical journals are tedious. Okay, but somehow you make it through. And but Bruce Winston was by far. He was always there. He guided me on my. Doctorate, and he was always there for me. But a very inspirational teacher.
That's awesome. Yeah. I I was a student here at Regent as well. And I have a little tie-in. I was one of the first students in the marketing program.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's...
These pioneers. Look at you guys.
It's within the business school, so it's not like I started a new school, but I'm pretty sure my year was the very first year that they offered the marketing program. It wasn't available when I applied.
Yeah,
and then I switched it over.
We refer to us as the pioneers.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I know.
The folks that the testing was done on.
Yes, we were.
To improve the program
We
later on.
definitely were.
Yeah.
I did my degree, and it was such an amazing experience. What would you say was one moment within all of our experiences are a host of moments. It's not just one moment that changes everything. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's a lot of different moments. But what would you say is one moment that you felt the Lord really moving and changing things while you were here at Regent?
While I was here at Regent, getting me through my comps, get ready to do a dissertation. Doing a dissertation to get a doctorate is a rough taskmaster, especially when you had self-doubts about yourself academically and being able to do the work. So for me, it was a little bit more laborious than people thought. But one of the things that I really found that gave me an element of strength, my dad died when I was 13, and I was kind of a rudderless ship for a number of years. I actually dropped out of high school at 17.
Really?
Yeah. I have another claim to fame that I dropped out of the same high school that the comedian Jerry Lewis dropped out of, Irvington High. And I went into Paris Island.
Their dropouts do well.
They do, apparently.
So May 1st of 68, I went into the Marine Corps, went to Paris Island. And it was a tough time. Vietnam was hot and heavy with the Tet Offensive. It was only a short time after Martin Luther King was assassinated. And a scared 17-year-old kid and making it through Paris Island. So even though you have the challenges, you find a way to get through. And even when I was at Regent having those academic challenges, you find a way to get through. Clint Eastwood said in the movie Heartbreak Ridge, where he played the part of a Marine, and I was a jarhead, improvise, adapt, overcome. And those are the three words I live by.
Now, you have your doctorate, and you're doing well, and you hop out there in the political realm, and you become the mayor. So tell me about what are the challenges that you face and how you bring your faith into those.
Well, I tell you what, people often ask me how it is to be the mayor of the largest city in the Commonwealth.
Yes.
And I go back to Clint Eastwood. He
likes Clint Eastwood.
Make my day. No, but the movie, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But it's mostly good. It's mostly good. But it's got its problems, too. It wasn't too long after I got sworn in that we had a mass shooting where 12 people lost their lives and people wounded, and hundreds of people witnessed the carnage we would never hope anybody would see. There is no playbook that anybody can go by on how to react. And at times where you feel weak and vulnerable, but you have to be strong, you find a way. And the best thing to do is have that solid foundation of faith and belief, and know that you're going to help make things better. You can't go back and fix what went wrong. But you can, be. But let me just say this. The one thing humbling about being mayor, no mayor does anything by him or herself. It's the people you surround yourself with. And one thing I'm very proud about Virginia Beach is that we are a very faith-based community of many faiths. And that's the glue that holds us together. And and that's where I find my strength. I found the strength in faith.
I want to do a follow-up to that, because knowing it is my home, it's my hometown, and we are such a large city, and over the years have become such a very diverse city. So how do you, as a Christian, represent a city filled with so many different viewpoints and feel like you're able to still stand firmly rooted in your faith?
Remember that you don't treat people as a group; you treat people as an individual. Back in the day, I went to see a friend of mine that was wounded in Vietnam at the Philadelphia VA hospital, and I decided that I became a physical therapist. And even then, I had to overcome quite a bit of academic challenges, taking chemistry, physics, and all that
PT's
stuff.
Not an easy program.
That I totally forgot everything once I got my diploma.
Thank you for letting us know that.
Good.
Mayor
I will not go to your office to go get
it was
physical
the
therapy.
chemistry and the physics part of it, But having the opportunity to work with people, and while I was working on my doctorate in the 90s, and they tell you that being a politician's a part-time job. Don't believe it. I got paychecks to prove it. I literally worked with thousands of people in Virginia Beach, in Norfolk, in Portsmouth, all over.
Yeah.
And it was different races, different socioeconomic, different lifestyles, and everything. You just get used to working with people.
Yeah.
And we are a very unique city. Virginia Beach is considered one of the most blended cities in the country in terms of people integrating and living with each other in the same city. And everybody's going to have a different perception of the city. But once again, the thing is to let people know what a great city we live in.
Yeah.
When you think about, we live in a city where people spend a fortune to come down here as tourists, and we get to live here. We got schools. We got the safest city in the country. It's not to say that, look, we're not immune from what's going on in the world, throughout the United States. But in Virginia Beach, we're doing pretty good. Darn good.
Yeah.
And we went through a mass shooting, we had a civil unrest, and we went through COVID. And through adversity, you find opportunity, and I think we were able to galvanize as a city. And I'll be honest with you, if I do one bragging point about our city, I'm hard-pressed to find a city made it through COVID better than we did. So, and we gave a lot back to the community.
Yeah, praise God. Man, well, can you believe that? Time's just flying by. It always flies by when we're having good conversation. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back, and we'll be going into some more. And let's brag on our city. Our city is a great city. So, yes, thank you. Let's totally do that. So we'll take a break, and we'll be right back with you guys. Well, we're back, and we've been sitting here with Mayor Bobby Dyer, and it's been so fun so far, and we're very excited to continue talking about our city and about the things that he's been doing in our city. Thank you again, Bobby Dyer, for being with us.
And I think Arnold Schwarzenegger once said in the movie, "I'll be back."
And we are
here
back.
we are.
I think he did. And, I think we have it all set up wrong. I think we should actually have just one mic here that have Mayor Dyer standing here giving us some stand-up. He's pretty...
he's got stand-up. He can do impressions. I'm just telling
you.
you.
Like, if Mayor doesn't work out, I think you could go into stand-up comedy.
He ranks, though. He ranks in the nation, though, as a mayor.
He does.
He does.
Remind us what this number was.
Oh, my God. Some organization said I was...
He's like in the top 5.
Yeah, let me put it this way. When you stop being humble, you should stop being mayor. And, it could be like a Frank Sinatra lyric, riding high in April, shot down in May. So you can be a star one day and, you know, things happen. So, but it was an honor to be considered one of the most effective mayors in the country.
Yeah, that is so cool.
By the grace of God.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes. Praise God, because we need good leadership. That is a need for the cities to prosper. You know, I talk about this with my fiance actually a lot. Just had to put a plug in.
Yeah,
for her.
he gave her a little shout out there.
Oh yeah. I talk about this a lot with her, that our call and what our marriage will have to be is looking to what the scriptures say. And the scriptures say in Jeremiah, when he's talking to the exiles, he's saying, seek the good of the city. Seek the good of the city. Go and marry their people. Go and have children in that city and seek its prosperity. And that's what we are to do, whatever city we're living in, whether it's Philadelphia, whether it's New York, whether it's California, San Diego, any of the different places that you live, Virginia Beach, which is our city. We seek the prosperity of the city. And you have been doing that in your role. And I am so thankful for that.
Let me just say, I have a saying, I want everybody in the city to drink from the same cup, C-U-P, community, unity, prosperity. And to be that city of yes, to be that city of inclusion for everybody. That, you know, people want to come here and raise their families. You know, it's really funny. One of the biggest challenges we've had is, you know, our economy was focused on the military and tourism and things of that nature. But now, you know, we're having offshore wind coming in. We got cables coming in, technology. I have a saying that friends don't let their friends' kids go to work in Northern Virginia anymore. We're going to have you're going to have a job right here, and we're going to keep your family right here in Virginia Beach.
That's right.
Yeah, I love it. And I wanted to just highlight this for our listeners out there. I work with a youth group, and we have this one student is 17 years old. I didn't know he was 17, and I had asked him this just yesterday. And he was like, yeah, I'm 17 years old, and here you are telling us about what you were doing when you were 17. That's such an inspirational story, because you have walked through so many different stages of your life, and there is so much available in anyone's life to them, and you have so many options, so many opportunities to, what was it? It was adapt or
improvise, adapt, overcome.
Yes, there's so many opportunities to do that throughout our life, and it's just great that you shared that story with us. So,
appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Ray.
Well, I wanted to ask you, and I will go ahead and admit that I have had the pleasure of working with Mayor Dyer and supporting his efforts for some years, because not only am I a Virginia Beach girl, but I also at one point worked for the city of Virginia Beach and love Virginia Beach. But what are the initiatives that you felt like that you set in motion that were God ordained?
Well, being that city of inclusion and, you know, appreciating the faith-based communities. And at no time was faith-based needed, especially after the mass shooting. I hate to keep on deferring to that. But I tell you what, it was a time of challenge.
Yes.
And, it was amazing the way people came together, and especially even during the COVID, when we were so challenged, to see the communities come together to help elderly out and doing things and doing those random acts of, kindness to each other.
Yeah.
As mayor, you see things through a different optic, even as you do as a council person. And, I've come to appreciate what a city manager and a management go through, what city staff go through, what it takes to run a big city in terms of having police, fire, EMS, and let's not forget 911. Let's not forget public works. Let's not forget public utilities. All the many, many parts it takes to have a city our size run 24/7 as magnificently as it does.
Well, let's not forget the mayor.
But, once again...
Listen, the humility. I love it.
A mayor is an interchangeable part.
Okay.
But once again, it's the the DNA of a city. You know, we are a city of heroes. When you think about our military presence, you think about the people, men and women serving in uniform, but also their spouses and family that are part of here. The kids in school playing soccer, you know, while the parent is a soccer coach, and you know, the sense of community that you find all over the city. You know, I never cease to be amazed.
Yeah, I agree.
Where do you see, like, you know, faith, especially your Christian faith, that role? We were just talking about this idea of pluralism. Pluralism is the big word for where, you know, all getting together and living as a community, regardless of all the diverse differences and things, and actually functioning as a community. How do you see your Christian faith sometimes, like, actually butting heads with the whole of diversity of faiths that you have in your own decision making for your own life, and then also how you're working as a mayor? You know, you have to think very pluralistically. You have to think, I want to seek the good of all of these people. So how do you see that, like, challenged?
Do things with good intentions for everyone.
Yes.
It comes down to intentions. And the thing is, not everybody agrees. And we live in a world right now of chaos and division and everything. Build bridges. Talk to people.
Yeah.
The good Lord gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth. Do more listening than talking.
Amen. Amen.
But the other thing is, determine what we have in common, not what we have dividing us.
Yeah.
And the thing to do, you have to provide the means and the bridges to do that. You know, Ray can tell you, helped started the Idea Commission, Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility, and that's morphing into more of a thing where we're finding a lot of the ills of society are rooted in, you know, the loss of family structure and depression. Mental, you know, situations. So you got to focus on the problems that exist, and not be afraid to have those tough conversations to get to the root of the problem and come up with solutions. Remember, it's not what you say; it's how you say it, how you receive it. But you know, just being out there with the community, and believe it or not, listen to the community. They know their communities better than we do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I do, you know, because we see you at this point of your life, and you clued us in to parts of your life that neither one of us knew. I didn't know about it. And Darvin, you didn't know about, like, when you were 17 and you made the choice to leave school. You know, I don't like drop out, but you left school. I'd like, at this point, for you to tell people who are listening, when you're discouraged, when you are feeling challenged, when you are going through that point and you feel like you're overwhelmed and you should give up, what is it in you that pushes you forward and pushes you towards the mark? Help encourage them.
Well, let me put it this way. You know, once again, you know, as a mayor, especially in my first couple of years, it was one challenge after another. And you know, I felt like a member of the fire department. I got one put out, another one would pop up. But, you know, I go back to one day in particular. You know, after the mass shooting, that weekend was very chaotic, as you're very, very much aware. If I'm not mistaken, I think I gave something around 40 interviews. You know, and Vice Mayor Wood, you know, helped out there. And I think as a city, we were able to craft a message that, be honest with you, a lot of the media from around the world said that, you know, our response was, you know, phenomenal. And so I got to compliment your group back then. But there was a day, you know, but once again, you know, I was kind of the public face of things. But there was one day I was on my way, believe it or not, to CBN, and I was going to be interviewed by Gordon Robertson. And I heard on the radio the names of all the victims being read. And I had an emotional meltdown. So I was able to, I'm sitting at the parking lot at CBN. I said, oh, my God, I'm going to be on air in 15 minutes, and I'm not ready for this. So I called a very dear friend of mine, Brian, who was not only my campaign manager, but a very dear friend and who knows me better than I do. And he said, dude, you got to get it together. Use everything that you learned in the Marine Corps and everything you got, and you go out there and do the job. And, I think I did one of my best interviews with Gordon that day. And that was all grounded in faith. Just reaching back. And, it was like Joseph being in the pit for so long and, having, you read about all the stories in the Bible about people going through despair, but rising, being the phoenix rising through the ashes. But once again, it's relying on other people, not trying to do it yourself. Rely on other people. Come up with a safety net of people that you trust, that are people of like mind and spirit and faith, and they will sustain you during the tough times.
Yeah, yeah, that's such great advice, and I think that's great wisdom for people, because I'd love to know who would you say are the people in your life, maybe not necessarily within your political sphere, but who have been those personal rocks that stand there with you and have been that safety net for you.
Well, I'll tell you what, I have a network of, friends, but also you learn from the effective leaders in life. I regard myself as a radiant Republican. Now, I'm not a hyper-partisan guy at all. I am by background Catholic. And, but Reagan was the type of thing, he was an effective communicator. He had a sense of humor. Was tough when he was, but he worked collaboratively with, other people in other parties and got things done. And what I learned from that was, when we got shut down with the COVID, and if you recall, we had discussions with the governor, opposite party, Governor Northam, and we were able to broker together a deal. We got our beaches open. And my goodness, what would have happened if we didn't have that happen? It's willingness to put your own personal ego aside and say, okay, what is right, what is not political? Being flexible, adaptable, be willing to find a compromise somewhere in the middle. And I guess you'll find out that when you get married, that's going to be an essential skill set.
Yeah. He needs to get that now. Huh?
Yeah, start working on it.
Oh my gosh.
No, but once again, surround yourself with people of like mind and spirit who have a unified vision that will sustain you when you're falling.
Yeah.
Christ needed a hand bearing his cross on his final journey. There are people out there that are going to be willing to help you. Allow them to.
Yeah, man. This has been like such a great time of a lot of wisdom. Thank you for sharing that with us and with our audience. And we are right at the very end. It's always so wild having it.
We have time for one more question,
but
though,
yes,
right?
We have time for one more question, and this is a question that we ask of all of our interviewees. How does one actually change the world, from your perspective?
It's really a simple answer. It's not complex. One person at a time. If you throw a pebble into a pond, it creates a little ripple.
I love the ripple effect.
But when you start throwing many, many pebbles in, and then it becomes a boulder, and then eventually can create a tsunami.
Yeah.
It really comes from individuals looking into their hearts and minds. It's the individual that can go out and touch a group of people that need touching, that need the help, that need with help with their self-esteem, elderly that need a ride to the doctor's office. Make positivity contagious.
Yeah.
Make acts of good deeds contagious.
Yeah.
Let other people see it. That's how people really learn,
That's right.
vicariously. And when people start saying, I want to be like that person, and then they start, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. So that's how you do it. You change by one person at a time. And then, this way, that's how you can have the greatest influence on people.
Wow. Well, what a great answer. Thank you for joining us. We are so excited. This has been a really great interview today. If you'd like to catch more, please come and listen to How to Actually Change the World as we talk with incredible people. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're watching on YouTube. And Bobby
Tell
Dyer,
your friends
thank you.
too.
Thank you.
Tell your
Yes,
friends.
please tell your friends. And tell your friends all about Bobby Dyer and how awesome Mayor Dyer is and how awesome our city is. And
No, I tell you what, let's focus on how awesome our city is, because you know something? As you get married and get ready to raise a family, guess what? You're talking about the future.
That's right.
What's true today has to be sustained,
Yep.
And we have to make it better.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back to families.
Yes.
Families are the simplest form of government. We need families
Yeah.
back.
Amen. What a great word. Well, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Mayor Dyer. We'll see you guys on the next one. I'm Darvin Muentes.
Ray Pearson Ben.
And keep on calling me Bobby D.
He's going to get that last word.
I love it. And we're out.